Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. Which of the following are the four holy places related to the life of Lord Buddha? Vaishali, Lumbini, Bodh Gaya, Sarnath, Kushinagar, Sravasti. The answer to this is 2, 3, 4, and 5 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of Bodh Gaya. Let us try and understand what are these options. When we consider the four holy places, which are these four holy places? It includes Lumbini, Bodh Gaya, Sarnath and Kushinagar. Other places are also important when it comes to Buddhism, but when you see the life of Buddha, the four important places are Lumbini. That is because he took birth in Lumbini, which is in Nepal. Then he happened to get his enlightenment where in Bodh Gaya. In Bodh Gaya, we have one of the temple complex called as the Mahabodhi temple, and this Mahabodhi temple is also declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Then we have Sarnath, which happens to be one of the important sacred places, which is where Buddha happened to deliver the first sermon. This is the place where he taught about Dharma, which include four noble truths and eightfold path, and he ultimately also formed Sangha, which is nothing but a monotheistic community in the Buddhism. And finally, we have Kushinagar. It is the place where Buddha attained parinirvana, which is nothing but nirvana after death. So Buddha breathed his last in this place, which is why these four places are considered as the holy places with reference to Lord Buddha. When it comes to Vaishali, it is also a holy place. However, it is not considered as the four holy places. It is part of Buddhism. It is an important place where Buddha preached his last sermon before he attained his parinirvana. Then we also have Shravasti. It is a place where Buddha spent most of his time after enlightenment in this place. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements are correct? Compulsory licensing is when a government allows someone else to produce a patented product or process without the consent of the patent owner or plans to use the patent protected invention itself. Countries can only make use of compulsory licenses for the domestic market, not for the export. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is one only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of compulsory licensing. Let us try and understand what are these statements and also know the difference between compulsory licensing and voluntary licensing. When we look into the first option, what is a compulsory licensing? Let's assume for a moment there is one of the company. This company has invested a lot of money, let's say thousands of crores. Why? Because it wants to find out a drug for one of the disorders or a disease. So what does it do? It invests a lot of money. It discovers, after the discovery, it also comes up with a drug or a vaccine. So this particular company which has created this vaccine will ensure that it also generates profits from this drug or vaccine. How? By introducing the same in the market. So what will it do? It will make sure that this particular vaccine or a drug is priced at an exorbitant price. This can be 1 lakh, it can be 2 lakh, or anything more than that. In that case, the government also has the responsibility to take care of its people, responsibility to make sure that these kind of drugs and vaccines are also given to the people, but people won't be able to afford it. Why? Because the market prices are exorbitant. In such a case, we have what is called as compulsory licensing. What is this compulsory licensing? Without asking the permission of the patent owner, or after the asking permission of the patent owner, where the patent owner does not accept to the terms and conditions of the government will give permission to another manufacturing entity or an industry or a body in its country, so that there is a generic version of this drug or the vaccine. So basically, the government will give permission to one of the entities to produce the same drug or a vaccine in a generic version in its domestic market. So remember, compulsory licensing can be utilized by the government for the welfare of the people if that particular vaccine is priced exorbitant or that drug is unaffordable for the people in that particular country without asking the permission from the patent owner. So the first statement is right. When you look into the second statement, countries can only make use of compulsory licenses for the domestic market and not for the export. This is a wrong statement. Why? That is because countries can also manufacture it and can enter into consensus with another country where that particular country, let's say another developing country, it does not have the required apparatus, it does not have the required infrastructure, it is able to meet the requirements as established by the World Trade Organization. In such a case, a generic version of the drug can be manufactured in one country, can also be exported to another country if that country does not have the infrastructure. So the second statement is wrong because such drugs can be exported to countries that lack the production capacity. Now, what is the difference between compulsory licensing and voluntary licensing? In compulsory licensing, what we have is the government stepping in. But in voluntary licensing, let's say there is a patent owner. The patent owner voluntarily engages in an agreement or in a contract with another entity or a company. So one entity enters into a contract with another entity and there is no influence of the government. So another entity from a different country enters into a contract, and that is what is called as voluntary licensing. So voluntary licensing is where two entities enter into a contract, they have a mutual settlement terms, royalty payment terms, financial terms entered into contract, and they also help in dispersal of this drug or the vaccine on the basis of mutual consented agreement. Now let's look into the next practice question. With respect to sickle cell disease, which of the following statements are incorrect? It is a genetic disease, that is, it is inherited from parents. It affects hemoglobin, the molecule in white blood cells that delivers oxygen to cell throughout the body. Which of the statements are incorrect? Since it is asking for the incorrect statement, the answer to this is 2 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the PIB makes a mention of the sickle cell disease. What is the sickle cell disease? This happens to be a disorder which primarily affects the hemoglobin, and there is a molecule of the red blood cells that delivers oxygen to cells throughout the body. It is not white blood cells, but instead it is the red blood cells. So since it is the red blood cells, the second option is wrong. So the answer to this would be 2 only. And when it comes to the first statement, yes, it is a genetic disease. It is inherited from the parents. It happens to be a hereditary disease. So when we speak about sickle cell disease, it happens to be a genetic condition that is present at the time of the birth. It is inherited when a child receives two sickle cell genes from each of the parent. That is how sickle cell disease or the disorder is transferred from the parent to the child. And people with this particular disease have a hemoglobin molecule which is called as hemoglobin S. S here stands for sickle, which can distort the red blood cells into a sickle or a crescent shaped one. Why is it called a sickle? When you look into the red blood cells, this is the normal red blood cells. But when we look into the sickle cell disorder, you have the shape of the red blood cells which are in the form of sickle. Since it is in the form of sickle, what would happen? The sickle cells die early. It causes a constant shortage of the red blood cells, and at the same time, because of its shape, it also clogs the blood flow. It also makes sure that there is no free flow of the blood, and which is why what we have is pain in that particular child if there are these sickle cell disorder. So what happens on and whole, you have some of the symptoms where there is low number of red blood cells, there is repeated infections that a child goes through, there are periodic episodes of pain that a child goes through, and this symptom can vary from one person to person. Some can have mild symptoms, some can have strong symptoms, and this may also require hospitalization as well. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following pairs. We have the tribal freedom fighters on one side and the region that they were able to go against the British on the other side. We have Kumaram Bhim, Telangana, Potoho, Jharkhand, Talakal Chantu from Kerala. Which of the above pairs are correctly matched? The answer to this is 1, 2, and 3. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the tribal life, because of the Janjatiya Gaurav Divas, which helps in understanding the contributions of the tribal leaders to the Indian freedom struggle. When we look into the first option, we have Komaram Bhim. He was one of the leaders from the Telangana region. He went against the activities of the British Empire and contributed in the culmination of Telangana rebellion of 1946. Then we have Potaho, who belongs to the region of Jharkhand, and then we have Talakal Chantu, who is from the state of Kerala, where he was an archer and commander in chief who fought against British forces in the Wayanad district of Kerala. Now let's look into the next practice question. With reference to River Teesta, consider the following statements. The source of River Teesta is same as that of Brahmaputra, but it flows through Sikkim. River Ranjit originates in Sikkim and it is a tributary of River Teesta. River Teesta flows into Bay of Bengal on the border of India and Bangladesh. Which of the statements given above is or correct? The answer to this is 2 only. When we speak about River Teesta, the first statement is wrong. That is because River Teesta originates from Fahunri Glacier and it is not as the same source of Brahmaputra, which is why the answer to this would be 2 only. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is Saket. Let us try and understand what is this, but before that, let's have an idea with respect to the background. When it comes to the Reserve Bank of India, it is one of the regulators when it comes to the banking system in the country. When there are grievances that people have to go through, customers have to go through with the irregularities in the system, it is the Reserve Bank of India which immediately pitches in. Similarly, there are number of digital applications, money lenders who have popped up in the digital era. These people charge exorbitant prices. They also harass the customers in case they've given loan to them but they do not pay it on time. There are fixed rules and regulations that any of these companies will have to follow. However, there are unregulated markets that have stepped in. There are unregulated digital applications that have stepped in, which is why the Reserve Bank of India came up with one of the working group. This working group was to identify if there are any digital applications, if there are any digital lenders, platforms and mobile applications which were able to provide loans to the people. Now, this working group currently goes on to say that there are about 600 illegal loan applications which are operating in India. They are not regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. Even if it is being regulated, they are not following the rules and regulations of the Reserve Bank of India, and ultimately they are harassing the customers of these digital applications, which is why we are discussing this article. How did the Reserve Bank of India come to know about this issue? That is where we have Saket that immediately pictures in. What is Saket? Basically, this happens to be one of the online portals. What is this online portals? Let's assume for a moment there is one of the banking units which is operating as a banking unit, or this is one of the entities which is accepting the deposits. If they are accepting the deposits from the people, they have to get the permission from the Reserve Bank of India, follow the code of conduct, follow the regulations as prescribed by the Reserve Bank of India. If there are entities which is not regulated by Reserve Bank of India, if there are entities which are accepting deposits illegally, and if the customers have some issue, then there is a website or a portal where people would be able to voice their opinion against the deposits made under unscrupulous entities. So what would happen? For the public to obtain information whether this particular unit is right or wrong, whether this entity is right or wrong, what we require is a website. This website is called as Saket. So what is Saket here? This happens to be an online portal where people would be able to voice their grievances if there are entities accepting deposits in a way not regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. Do remember, public would be able to voice their opinion, and at the same time the Reserve Bank of India would know if there are entities which are accepting such deposits in a not acceptable manner. When it comes to the implementation, the website is an initiative of the state level coordination committee. What is the state level coordination committee? This is a forum. What would happen? You have the state executive agencies. Who are the state executive agencies? This will have the law implementing agencies, enforcement agencies like the Home Department, Finance department, law department, economic offenses wing. Then you will also have those regulators as well. The regulators here can include SEBI, it can include RBI, it can include the PFRDA. So this particular entity is nothing but a bridge or forum where all these entities exchange the information so that any such unscrupulous activities can be stopped in this particular website. So what is happening? There were people who came across these digital applications and lenders. They had given money to the people. They were charging exorbitant prices, interest rates, and ultimately few people who were not able to pay because they were harassed by these digital applications and mobile applications have also committed suicides. They've also voiced their opinion against such applications, which is why we have this working group appointed by the Reserve Bank of India, which is currently given some recommendations. What are these recommendations? It can be taken down into two viewpoints. One is where this working group has said that there should be a nodal agency to verify the credentials. What is this nodal agency? There will be an establishment of an institution. This institution will check whether the digital application is given permission by the Reserve Bank of India or by any of the regulators. Even if it is given permission, which are these companies, which are these digital applications, all of it will be provided under one single database. So customers who are taking money from this particular digital application can verify from this digital database. That is one idea. So we will have an institution which will verify the credentials, and at the same time it will also ensure that all these digital applications is present under one single database. Followed by this, it also requests the central government to come up with laws so that such activities does not happen in the near future. Illegal lending activities can be prevented. Thereby it asks the government to introduce banning of unregulated lending activities act in line with this particular process. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.